Hey, um, okay, so I noticed that wearing makeup, you're a nicer person, and people don't take their dogs like a 180 around you and stuff, right? And dogs are a good way of telling if you're going in the right direction in life. If a dog comes near you, or, that usually means that it senses something in you that's positive, right? If a dog veers away from you, you're not doing something right in life. So I decided to have a quiet New Year's this year. I noticed the years that I have a quiet New Year's, it's a good year and stuff, right? Last year, I went to Toronto and walked around and stuff, and then I left before the fireworks and such, and then I had a year of really decreased health, right? So, yeah. And yeah, like I'm on a benzo right now, and it makes you nicer and stuff, but it also zones you out. So if someone's laughing at you, you literally don't. Something you don't process it, you don't care. You care less, right? And a lot of the medications I notice for me do that. So stuff that I'm paranoid about or I'm freaking out about, if I take the medications, I still know they're happening. I just don't care, right? So that's how they affect me sometimes. There's different ways of looking at health: pharmaceutical, spiritual, homeopathic, um, gym in general, music in general, creativity in general. Not all these equal for mental disorders and stuff. And you really try to focus on what's considered a mental disorder, right? Sometimes I wonder, I always used to wonder if I made a tragic mistake in my teens and stuff in being diagnosed just because my mom was, right? Like I remember in the 90s, it was like, oh, wait a minute, someone in your family has this? Okay, you have this too. That's how it was done, right? So I always wondered, if I take the more naturopathic route in my teens, would I be where I am today, like today, right? So I don't know. Like I listened to old cassette tapes of myself, and I think I did pretty well being on the pharmaceutical route, right? So there are risks you take in life. I don't know to what degree the consequences are, right? But yeah, maybe I'm going on tangents now. But I read a very detailed biography on someone and realized that only a couple of phrases related to me, right? So I'm like, okay, right? So, and you take feedback. You take a lot of feedback and stuff, right? So, when I was at Pandora and I was trying to understand their product and stuff, I was literally telling the girl, like, I literally have to look decent for half the names that I'm being called not to hold relevance because I look decent, right? And she kind of looked at me like it was a bit too late for that, right? So I'm like, all right, and stuff. That's good feedback and stuff, right? And then you're reminded of past versions of yourself where you're like, no, I didn't do that. And you're like, no, wait a minute. No, no, I did. I did do that and stuff, right? So you're like, okay. But yeah, like you don't know the consequences of some things, right? But do you really want to, you know what I mean, right? So, you hope that works out and stuff to whatever degree. But right now I'm on a benzo and I'm calm and stuff. And if someone were to make fun of me and stuff, I wouldn't react the way I usually do, right? So, and I think sometimes in reacting or being called boggle or whatever, right, is something that you can't control, Like I've done a lot of CBT and stuff, and you read about the cases where people totally reduce their medications based on that one video I had on my last video. This video, I'm going to have another video on resilience and why some people can conquer stress and crises without having a mental disorder. I left a message there saying, what if you have a mental disorder and you're still resilient and stuff, right? So I was going to respond, right? But the premise of the whole video was interesting in the fact that they talked about death a lot and the death of a family member and how stress and crisis can actually like provoke something that's been internal within you, right? So something that's been dormant within you, with the right amount of stress and crisis, it can come to fruition and stuff, right? So that really got me thinking a couple of hours ago, so I did something about it, and I'm going to continue to do something about it. A lot of it's self-worth and, how much you worth your life and stuff, right? So a lot of the stuff I was looking, like if you look at that video, right, the one that I posted yesterday, none of that's covered, right? So literally, if you were to have the disorder or whatever, you would have to have someone sponsoring you for all that medical stuff, or trying to figure it out on your own with the brain that you have, right? So, for me, someone was looking at the traumatized versions of selves and stuff, and I noticed if I just focus on one of them, I'm okay, right? Which is the customer service one. It's just like, people say 4 or whatever, right? But the correct answer is around 7 or 8 or so, right? So, and that's been around for a while and such, right? But, the point that I was trying to make with schizoaffective, you don't know what's real and what's not half the time, right? So, something that you think is really real and stuff, they're like, no, they did this. I saw them do this. Someone else from a different perspective would be like, it's not represented like that. You shouldn't see it like that. There could be another way of viewing this, right? So that's what I'm trying to learn, right? So I'll continue to do that and stuff. I'll post a video below and stuff just because it's interesting to watch. It talks about cortisol, but I always thought cortisol is a negative thing, right? But it talks about I don't know if they're chemicals or receptors or what they are, but 2 different ones that I've never heard of before, which are the updated 2025 version of receptors or chemicals or whatever, right? So it's interesting to look at and such. I indirectly told a nurse today that a blood thinner could be fish oil and stuff, right? So I noticed a lot of people like back in the day use warfarin. I don't want to give medical advice. Do not want to give medical advice. But I was wondering when I was getting my blood test done why it was coming out quicker and stuff, right? And it's because I take the fish oils, right? I forgot about that, right? So for me, that's what happens and stuff, which is sometimes why I don't like getting cuts, right? Because if you get cuts and you bleed, it bleeds more because you're on fish oils. For me, right? But yeah, benzos is something that you don't want to get addicted to. Matthew Perry, there's a bunch of other people. But yeah, like you don't want to, unless, it's necessary and stuff and you're dependent on it and stuff, you don't want to pop a pill to solve a problem, right? So, yeah, so everyone has a different way of looking at things, right? It is basically being a productive member of society, giving back to society. That for me, I think, and being happy too, right? Being joyful, happy, laughter, all that stuff, I think is the most important things to whatever path you choose to mental wellness. All right, thanks.